following podcast has not been rated. You're listening to Fullbacks Are People Too, the FAPT, and here is your host, CJ Newman.
Hello everyone, welcome to the FAPT podcast. As the voice prior to me speaking said, my name is CJ Newman, and I'm going to be your host. I'd like to give a special thanks to everyone out there who has been supporting this podcast, all the subscribers that I have, and everybody who's been listening to the first two episodes. So, the first episode was with Tyler Forness when we went over the Minnesota Vikings. Then we had last week with Recliner QB talking about the Dallas Cowboys, and that one was very special for me because I got to do it with my buddy Chef Chad Wells as my co-host. So big thanks to both those guests and then Chef Chad Wells as well for coming on the show. Just putting a bow on that. It was a great episode last week, got a lot of good feedback, working on getting some of these technical details out of the way and trying to make this a better show for you every week. Every week we're going to get better. It's all there is to it. So this week I've got a gentleman coming on by the name of Dano DeMano. He is a Jacksonville Jaguars fan who lives currently in Denver, Colorado. He's got a bit of an interesting story as to how he became a Jaguars fan. So without further ado, I would like to take this opportunity to hand the microphone over to Dano DeMano for his story on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Alright, welcome back to the Fat Podcast. I have on the line here Dano DeMano. Dano, how the hell are you?
Wonderful. It's an amazing Saturday. It's Saturday, right?
Yes, it is Saturday.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, it's a good day. Any day above ground is a good one.
What the hell did you do Friday to not think it was Saturday?
Oh, my God. We don't have enough time. Let's stick to football, all right?
Yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah. So you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
Yep.
Or wherever they're going to be next year.
Thanks. Yeah, it might be the London Jacksonville or the London Jaguars or, God, where else are they talking about going? Well, they're probably going to the London if they go somewhere else.
They got to rename themselves the London Silly Nannies if they're going over there.
I think they'll probably change their name to the London Beefeaters.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That would be nice. That would be interesting.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be in team limbo because I can't say I hate every other team out there, but for the most part, I don't like them very much. I mean, I'm not going to be a bandwagoner. I'm not going to be one of these people that's all of a sudden an Eagle fan now. So, no, I just can't do that. I'll have to figure something out if they change their name.
Well, look, I was in team limbo myself back when I was, I'm 29 now. When I was a kid, we didn't have a football team here. It's, the local teams here were the Washington Redskins, Pittsburgh Steelers were the closest, and then, Philadelphia Eagles. I didn't want to root for any of those, so I was kind of in a situation like you were growing up, to where I had to be different from everybody else, and we'll go over your story about that in just a moment. But,
okay.
I actually rooted for the Green Bay Packers when we didn't have a team here.
Really?
So, yeah, I was into Brett Favre, just like my co-host from last week was. He was a big Brett Favre fan. I was more of a Steve Young guy, but I liked the actual team of the Packers instead.
Yeah.
So, speaking of which, you live in Colorado.
Yep.
You're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
And I get a bunch of shit for it.
How the hell did this happen?
Well, see, I originally come from Alaska, right? And Alaska is a hodgepodge of team loyalty. So it was right around the time when I was actually getting into football, when they were talking about expanding. And they were going to put a team in Jacksonville. I was like, I got a little connection to Florida. And I was like, what the heck? I think I'll make that my team. So I just been a fan of that team since 95 and just stuck with them ever since.
Tell me, what is your connection to Florida?
Oh, I got some extended family there. That's going to make a lot of sense to a lot of people why I'm so crazy. But yeah, I got cousins and aunts and stuff like that, and everybody in the house is either a Buccaneer fan or a Dolphin fan. And I just had to be the weirdo. Went with the expansion team, so it makes family reunions really interesting.
I'm sure it does.
Oh yeah.
Now, you say you've been a fan since '95. You said?
Yep.
All right, that's the year they came in the league. A little known story about the Jacksonville Jaguars. I have a little bit of a tie to them myself. When I was a kid, we were lobbying for not for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but the actual expansion franchise itself here in Baltimore. There was a plan put together for the Baltimore Bombers, believe it or not. That was the name that they were trying to get. And then Tagliabue shot it down and ended up choosing Jacksonville and Carolina as the expansion teams. So we almost ended up with what your Jaguars were as our Baltimore Bombers. But I think in the end it ended up working out for both of us. We ended up getting teams.
I'd have to agree. I think the Ravens are a much better choice.
Yeah, or the original recipe Browns, as some people like to call them.
Yeah. Well, they went with the Ravens because of Edgar Allan Poe, right? Am I mistaken?
That is correct. They decided to rename the team. It was actually more of a leverage move from Art Modell to try to get out of Cleveland without as much hesitation as possible. He decided he was going to let them in Cleveland keep the name, the rights, the history of the Cleveland Browns, and then he left it up to the city of Baltimore to name the team. So in the Baltimore Sun here, one of our newspapers, they put an advertisement in there. I did not personally vote for the name the Ravens. I wasn't a fan of it, and I wasn't a fan of the color purple. It's grown on me. I'll give you that. Yeah. But there was 3 different team names you could choose from, and the other 2 are escaping me at the time. But they ended up going with the Ravens was the end all be all name for that team.
Well, thank God for that. Especially they're wiping their hands from all ties from Ohio. I mean, come on. Everybody leaves Ohio, from what I understand. They don't ever want to go back.
Yeah. So here in Baltimore County, there's we have a septic residence where all of the fecal matter goes to, called Dundalk. So we were wondering if the team actually ended up in Dundalk, would they be the Dundalk Browns, and how horrible would that be?
That's awesome. The Dundalk Browns.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
All right, sorry about that. I got off on a tangent.
Yeah, no worries.
The Ravens here, but let's go ahead and talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars here, and let's stick with this whole Denver conversation. So you moved to Denver how long ago?
I moved here in 2012.
2012. Has it been good to you ever since this Ravens Super Bowl year, I guess it was?
Absolutely. I really like Denver as a town. Now, being a fan of a rival team, well, not really a rival team, just any other team in the town of Denver, I mean, you stick out like a sore thumb, of course, because everybody around here bleeds orange. It's always Broncos this, Broncos that. You know, I think I know more about the Broncos than I do Jacksonville at this point, because any conversation at work always starts with, oh, what's Elway going to do this year? Oh, why is our quarterback situation so horrible? Oh, my God, what are we going to do? Jacksonville got Malik Jackson, you sons of bitches. Yeah, usually that's how it goes.
Now, it used to be a rivalry, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know this. I'm sure you do.
I stick it in their face every chance I get. Like, yeah, remember that time when my horrible team, knocked you guys out of playoff contention? Yeah, that happened.
But what happened the next year?
Oh, we got our asses stomped by them. Just absolutely destroyed.
Remind me, who was the quarterback there at the time?
Mr. Brunell.
Mark Brunell, yes. He was the left-handed wonder from what I remember.
Yes, sir. Yep.
He was probably one of the better left-handed quarterbacks I'd ever seen in my life. I apologize, I'm stepping all over you here, but I remember him and the 2 wide receivers that they had there, Jimmy Smith and
Keenan McCardell.
Yes, and McCardell, I think, ended up going to the Buccaneers and he ended up getting his ring there. Yeah. But that team altogether, and then my goodness, there was a running back there too. I'm blanking on his name.
It was going to be Natrone Means.
Yes, that was a high-powered offense. If only that team had a defense like they do today. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, they did a number on the AFC, so I mean, they had their time. I think they really could have gone all the way. If they would have played a better game against Tennessee in '96, yeah, they would have made it to the Super Bowl, and I think they might have won it. But that's just the past, and it unfolded the way it did. So it is what it is. I'm just glad I've got a team that's put together now that's actually looking like it's going to win. That's a relief. It's been a really hard 10 years.
Funny you mention that. I actually just seen that game not too long ago where the Titans ended up going to the Super Bowl that year. That was a pretty close game.
It was. Yep.
So I wouldn't be ashamed of that whatsoever. It's kind of like in 2011 when the Ravens went up against the Patriots. They lost by 3 points, and there was no shame in the game. I mean, it kind of sucked how it ended, but
Yeah.
You were hanging in there. You weren't getting blown out. It was a good game to watch, believe it or not.
Yep. And the better team won. As much as it pains me to admit that, the better team won.
That year, and then they ended up getting their ass kicked. Well, not necessarily kicked. They were on the way back. Steve McNair, or Air McNair, God, I'll never forget that team. And believe it or not, Ravens used to be in the same division as the Jaguars and the Titans. So
That's true.
we had a bit of a rivalry going on there with the Titans at the time, and the Jaguars always came in and at least took one a year from us. We typically split the rivalry with you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, Air McNair going in there, Eddie George. Yeah, I remember that year very well. Steve McNair ended up being our quarterback in the end
That's right.
for the last bit of his career. Unfortunately, his life passed a bit too soon.
Yeah.
Back to the Jaguars.
Hey, you got Porco.
Yeah, we got the fabulous flight. Thanks for reminding me. I was having a good day until you said that.
Yeah, that's a jab in the ribs. I'm sorry. That's uncalled for. My fault.
We'll get the shitty quarterbacks in a minute when we talk about Blake Bortles. But let's go back to the Jaguars. Tell me, who's your favorite Jaguar of all time?
That's a really hard one, and we talked about the gruesome twosome with McCardell and Smith. I got to give it up to McCardell. I mean, the guy was just amazing. Jimmy Smith is right there too, but Fred Taylor and Maurice Jones-Drew, I mean, they're in there too. I mean, my God, I actually work with a guy that's personal friends with Maurice Jones-Drew, so I'm like, dude, I want to meet him. And he's like, no, done that, not doing it anymore. Too many people just get like starstruck and can't talk. I'm like, yeah, I can understand that. I wouldn't want to put your relationship with Maurice Jones-Drew in any sort of jeopardy, but I love the guy. He's good, hard running motherfucker, man. Oh my God, he's great.
I mean, at least get him to give you an autograph. I mean, for Christ's sake.
Well, yeah, maybe not. I'm not going to push it. If it happens, it happens. Cool. But, it doesn't, no big deal. I've got plenty of Jaguar stuff in my house anyway, so it's all good. But by far, our best quarterback was Burnell.
I could agree with that. And I like your McCardell pick. I was personally an MJD fan because of the fact that every time I had a chance, I picked him in fantasy football. So until his last couple years in the league, he always gave me some damn good points. I was very happy with him.
Yeah, all my friends would pick Maurice in front of me just to piss me off, and it worked every time. Yeah, like, why are you guys doing this to me? I mean, because he's your buddy or he's your boy. We know you like him. I'm just like, sons of bitches. I hate you all.
Well, the joke was on them if they chose him in the last 2 years of his career.
Well, they got wise and they left him up on the board, and I wasn't going to pick him because, after, one knee, then the next one, it's just like, the writing's on the wall. Mojo's on his way out.
MJD or Fred Taylor?
Oh, God. Oh, man, I'll go with MJD.
That's interesting because Fred Taylor is getting some serious consideration for Hall of Fame.
Oh, he'll be in there. I have no doubt about that, but so will MJD.
Fred Taylor had such a quietly good career. Just because of the fact that he was on the Jaguars, he got stashed away there, and nobody really talked about him too much, but he had a great career, in my opinion.
Nobody really talked about the whole team. They're just like, oh, okay, the Vikings are playing who this weekend? Jaguars? Who's on that team again? Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, Vikings will win. That's pretty much how it's been.
I think the most relevant, up until this year, don't get me wrong, this year's been great. Up until this year, the most relevant game I remember was actually against the Denver Broncos a couple years ago when they swore Peyton Manning was going to beat the living shit out of them. Do you remember that? The 2012 season? 2013, I think it was?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was pissed because I was going to go to that game, and I had to work, so I couldn't make it. But, yeah, I did get the opportunity to talk plenty of shit to all the guys that I work with that are diehard Denver fans. I never miss an opportunity for that.
I remember Pawlowski got a pick in that game. Pick 6 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But I just remember reading an article. It was like a mock article earlier that week about how Peyton Manning was going to throw left-handed, do some Harlem Globetrotters things. But it ended up being actually a pretty decent game. It wasn't as bad as people thought it was going to be.
True, but I mean, that was when Jacksonville was downward slide. I mean, come on, we've only been a little bit better than the Cleveland Browns in the past 10 years.
Wasn't that Gus Bradley's team back then, or was that somebody else? I know they've changed coaches a couple times in recent years.
Oh, man, that was 2012. That was, I think that was when Bradley first came on. Yeah, what a joke that was. Good God. It's supposed to be the Jesus of defensive coordinators, just turned out to be an absolutely horrible coach.
Yeah, I can remember him and the Miami Dolphins coach is escaping me at the time. I forget his name too. But
the only one worth mentioning, Don Shula.
No, the coach at the time in 2012. Both of them just seemed like the type that, like, if they lost, they would take their teams out for ice cream afterwards. You know?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were just so soft. It was just horrible to watch. But I'm not even sure, where is Gus Bradley even working nowadays? I'm sure he's a defensive coordinator somewhere.
Yeah, he's a defensive coordinator for, God, who was it? Somebody like the Raiders or something like that. I don't know. I completely lost all interest as soon as he left the team. I mean, gosh, I lost all interest in Gus Bradley when he was the head coach. It's like, okay, when is this guy going to leave finally? Take David Caldwell with you. But
hey, Caldwell ended up being okay in the end. I mean, as long as you got your two head coaches there going.
Yeah, but my two head coaches.
It's fucking fair. It's not cool.
Oh, I don't care about fair. Fuck fair, all right? I want to win. So, yeah, I've got two head coaches, and I love it. As soon as I heard Tom Coughlin was going to be involved in the team again, it was like the Renaissance, you know what I mean? I've got visions of Jacksonville from like the mid-1990s. I'm just like, yes, finally we're going to pull our heads out of our asses and start doing some, smart drafting and some good play calling. And you got Doug Marrone in there who's like it's like the mafia, you know what I mean? They got the New York mafia, you got the Jersey mafia. And the Jersey mafia has always been subservient, right? They're always like, we'll do what the New York guys say. And that's how it is. Tom Coughlin's the godfather, and thank God, because he's really done a number on that team in just a year. In a year, he turned them around into Super Bowl contenders, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Yes, and he did a great job last year. I was very impressed. I think the point where I realized that you guys were actually like, okay, I'm not fucking around with this team, was the London game last year where you beat our asses in that game. And it ended up being like 40-7, and it was a garbage time 7 by the backup quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
So, a lot of controversy surrounding that game in the beginning, but damn it, they came ill-prepared, and your team came over-prepared. It was very obvious that team was going to be something after that game, and I was not ashamed to admit that the Jaguars handed us our asses that day, and the Jaguars ended up doing very damn well for themselves for the rest of the year.
I was happy with it. I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah. I mean, when your team has been, I hate to say it, mediocre for the past, I don't know how many years, it was good to see them finally step it up last year.
They were terrible. They were just a little bit better than the Browns. Don't mince words. Don't sugarcoat it. They sucked, and it's okay to admit it. I admit it. I came to peace with it. So,
but they're not the Browns. They're not that bad.
No, and that's the only thing that I could tell people. Oh, yeah, your team's horrible. We're not the Browns.
All right, tell me a little bit about this draft this past season. I see you at pick 29. You chose Taven Bryan, a defensive tackle out of Florida.
Yes. My God, that guy, what the heck? He's a value pick at this point. He's kind of like the Jaguars are thinking long term. And they've got some contracts, and they got some free agents that are going to be coming up here really soon, and they're hedging their bets. So basically, Taven Bryan was going to be a great addition because he's a young guy. He's going to be able to learn from two of the best out there, Malik Jackson and Calais Campbell. And I mean, come on, who wouldn't want to develop a defensive lineman, a defensive tackle with those two guys as a mentor? I mean, this guy's going to be a beast if he could pick up just a little bit of talent, a little bit of experience from these guys. So yeah, once contract time comes around, I think we're trying to, hedge our bets and have some cash available for guys like Yannick, whose contract is coming up. And gosh, we can't lose him. Oh my God, I don't want to lose Yannick. And Jalen Ramsey, I don't want to lose Ramsey. But that's what that move was about. And the draft, honestly, I think they did well. I think they could have done a little bit better, but honestly, I'm happy with what we got.
I actually want to play a game with you. I'm going to try to do this every week from now on. It's going to be called Fuck You, Pay Me. Right, so anybody, the eligible players to play in this are anybody who has been on the team for at least a season. It doesn't matter if they're on their rookie contract. It doesn't matter if they're on their third contract. It doesn't matter what type of situation they are, if they hold out, if they could find their entire amount, if they get cut, whatever. Tell me, who on the roster right now do you think should hold out and say, give me a new contract, regardless of their situation right now, that has been playing for at least a season?
Oh, man.
This one's an easy one for me, but I'm going to let you pick.
My God. It's got to be on the defense. You got to pay Yannick. You got to pay Yannick.
I like Yannick. However, I would probably have to say Jalen Ramsey.
Yes, believe me, his name came up in my brain meat too. But my God, we can. I shouldn't say it like, we can find another corner. I was like, I don't know. I don't think we can find another Jalen Ramsey. But yeah, they're going to have a real hard decision coming up real soon. I wouldn't want to be the guy sitting in the room going, okay, do we pay Yannick or do we pay Ramsey? Yeah, it could definitely go either way, but I don't know, man. I like that beef up front, and we got a good thing going on with Boye too and Gibson. I think we could lose Ramsey and still be okay, but I don't want to lose Ramsey either.
Right. I could agree with that. Now, I'm looking at your depth chart right now. Did Dante Fowler fall from starter status?
Dante Fowler's got some issues going on right now, and yes, he did. As far as him actually panning out to be a good decision from as high as we picked him, so far he hasn't been worth the money. So, yeah, they got a tough decision coming up with Dante Fowler. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they let him walk.
Have you heard of Rashad Perryman?
I have heard of Rashad Perryman.
Is he your equivalent there?
Possibly.
Rashad Perryman has been on the field all of about maybe 50 snaps and has just been drop-a-palooza as far as a wide receiver. So that's been our bust of a first-round pick in the past couple years.
Let's talk about drop-a-palooza. How about we mention the name, Marquise Lee, Mr. Stonehands?
Hey, that's Mr. Current starter right now, very much.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I see him losing his starting position. We got two young guns that are coming up right now, Dante Westbrook. We got our second-round pick, DJ Shark. I could see one of them knocking Marquise Lee out because let's be honest here. The guy has been dropping balls left and right. He's been needing to make big plays, and he just can't do it. Now, you would think that the window would be open for him to really make something out of himself now that the Allen brothers are gone. But I have no faith in his ability to catch the ball under pressure. I don't. I'm sorry. If it comes down to like a 3rd and 4 and they're going to pass, oh, God, they're going to give it to Blake Bortles and they're going to let him pass it, which is a scary situation for me to think about, too. But, I mean, I can't see an offensive coordinator calling a play to Marquise Lee. I mean, yeah, you've got Fournette in the backfield. Let him run it. Or catch Mickens or Cole on the side, and throw to one of them. But you don't throw to Lee. Not if you need something to happen. You don't throw to Lee.
All right, so your offseason has been very interesting. Speaking of Blake Bortles and the brothers, the Allen brothers, tell me, what was your reaction? First, what happened to the Allen brothers being just letting him walk? And then what do you think about the Blake Bortles contract?
All right, well, let's get started with the Allen brothers then, huh? So let's go with Air 15, Allen Robinson. I didn't want to see him go, honestly. But he made it known that he wasn't interested in playing in Jacksonville anymore. And I don't deny the man's talent. The guy is an amazing receiver. So do you hold on to a guy that doesn't want to be there anymore and pay him? Absolutely not. You let him go. Yeah. I have no hard feelings against Allen Robinson whatsoever. As a matter of fact, I hope that his career explodes and he does amazing with Chicago. I'm going to keep an eye on it because I think he's going to do great things for Mitch Trubisky in Chicago. I'm going to be happy if he makes some really big plays to him, too. I'm also going to be happy that he's not going to be in our division. So you go for it, Allen Robinson. Hats off to you. And Alan Hearns, my God, I would honestly have liked to have seen them keep Hearns over Lee for the reasons I just mentioned, okay? Alan Hearns, I think, is a guy that a no-name is almost a walk-on to the team, and he exploded, and he earned his spot. He earned his money. So I think that a guy that has heart like that and determination and has shown time and time again that, yeah, get the ball close to the guy, he's going to make a big play for you. I think they should have kept him instead of letting him go to the Cowboys.
I can't disagree with that. I was actually surprised to see both of them go. I thought you guys would at least have a chance of keeping one of them. But I was kind of sad with Alan Hearns last year with the ACL issue, especially since I had him in fantasy football. It was a bit of a
Yeah.
it was a bit of a letdown. But don't forget, also you have Dante Moncrief coming onto the team.
That's right. We got a veteran receiver coming from, of all places, the Colts. I can see him doing big things. So I can see him taking the starting spot from Marquise Lee. I wouldn't be surprised with that at all.
He's
But
currently
there is
slated
the
as
X
number
factor.
2.
There's the X factor, Blake Bortles. Which Blake Bortles do we get this year? Do we get Blake Bortles from 2016 or do we get Blake Bortles from 2017? They've done a lot of in-between seasons work on his mechanics. And from what I understand, everybody's saying, oh, he's improved, he's improved. Well, that's great, but we've heard that a couple years now. And after this contract that he's got, which is very team-friendly, by the way, I see that if he doesn't step up into that leadership role, if he can't handle his mechanics and start making better decisions, he did great last year, but he's got to do it again. And that might be the problem. I don't think he can do it twice in a year. So if he doesn't come around, I see Blake Bortles taking off.
Now, I am personally looking forward to seeing if Blake Bortles were to start to falter whatsoever. There was a under-the-radar move made this offseason. I'm sure you're aware of it, but not many people know. Cody Kessler was acquired by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not sure what you guys gave up for him, but I personally like Cody. I think he's a good, decent
got him in a
quarterback.
trade. We got him in a trade.
I think he's got a good chance, if Blake Bortles is to falter, of taking over that position.
Yep, I agree with you. And we got that kid in the 4th round, or was it 3rd round, the quarterback from Nebraska, Lee.
Tanner Lee, yeah.
Tanner Lee, yeah. He's a big guy with a big arm, and he's going to probably wind up playing in the practice squad. But if they develop that guy right, I think he can be huge also.
I can't disagree with that either. And you got him in the 6th round. That seems like a hell of a bargain for you guys. Your past 2 drafts, your first-round picks have not been sexy picks, I should say.
Yeah.
The positions have been defensive tackle this past year and running back. Now, those are some of the lower-end positions that you don't typically take very high in the draft. You wait until your 3rd, 4th, or 5th round. But I got to tell you, your first-round pick made a difference for you last year.
How can you leave Leonard Fournette up there? I mean, come on. That guy was going to go, I think, top 10 easily. Of course. But, I mean, a runner like him doesn't come around very often. I just hope that they don't use him up prematurely, all right?
Yeah.
I want to see this guy, they've made some moves in wide receiver. Great. Hopefully they're going to take some stress off of him. They've got another fullback in the backfield that they can, bounce in between too, and that's great. I just hope that they don't use this kid up. I don't want him to, go down with a knee or, wind up being another, dare I say, Jones-Drew. Although Jones-Drew was great, but, I mean, they used him up. And that was really horrible. I think Jones-Drew's injuries really mounted up there near the end, and it cost him his career, which could have been a lot longer.
So are you looking for a running back by committee approach is what you're getting at?
Yes.
I think that would probably be the best way to go, but still giving the bulk of the carries to Mr. Fournette, just not necessarily all the carries.
Yes. Give the guy maybe a little bit of time to get some oxygen back in his body in between plays. My God. The guy's a beast, though.
He did get a little bit of an injury bug last year for a little bit, but he was able to turn it around and come back in the playoffs and have a hell of a run going on there.
Yes, he did. I couldn't have been happier. We actually had a running game for a change. It was great.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since the MJD days.
Yep.
Chris Ivory, if I'm not mistaken, is he still on the team? Or no, I'm sorry, it's TJ Yeldon. TJ Yeldon is there. He was a decent actual acquisition for you guys, 2 years ago? I actually appreciated TJ Yeldon as a running back. He got some points for me when I had to drop one of my running backs that got injured last year. I might have been suspended. I had Ezekiel Elliott, so I had a couple of games where I had to put somebody out there, and TJ Yeldon was available.
Yep, and he's still on the team, and Chris Ivory, thankfully, is not.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to bring up any bad
No, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I'm glad to see the guys that aren't stepping up take off. It makes me happy.
Who's your favorite player of all time?
Oh, my God. Favorite player of all time? Probably going to have to go with Maurice.
MJD, and so he's your favorite Jaguar and your favorite, well, you're not your favorite Jaguar. Your favorite Jaguar, you said, was Keenan McCardell. But MJD is your favorite player of all time.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I can see that.
When you get in conversations as a Jaguar fan, it's always going to be a conversation about two guys, Fred Taylor or Maurice Jones-Drew. So I have talked so much about Maurice Jones-Drew. Yes, he's my favorite. Nobody remembers McCardell or Jimmy Smith from back in the day. I mean, every once in a while they get, hey, you guys had Mark Brunell. He was pretty good. Yeah, but usually it just goes to those two guys. And it's kind of sad because it really overshadows the talent that team had. I mean, does anybody remember Matt Jones? Remember Matt Jones?
I don't, but I definitely remember Keenan, and I definitely remember Jimmy Smith, just because of the fact that we have a Jimmy Smith on our team now, who's a cornerback. But I definitely remember those two giving us shit fits back when we were in the same division.
Oh, yeah, and so did Matt Jones before he started having a cocaine problem. 6'7", great hands. Oh, man, he was a great tight end. But, yeah, he decided he wanted to get high instead of play football. So, yep, he was a good player. His loss hurt.
Decision, unfortunately, and it's costing them a lot.
Yep, it sure is. But, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Mount Rushmore. Give me an executive, an owner, 2 offense, 2 defense, and a special teams.
Oh, man, I have to go to the list for this one because my brain is a piece of crap. And, yeah, I'm not going to remember all of this stuff. But for a team, for the best owner, best executive, honestly, I'm going to go with the 2-part approach because owner and president of the team, I got to go with Art Rooney way back in the day. This guy basically $2,500, and he started the Pittsburgh Steelers. $2,500 back in the early 1900s, okay? And he developed that team and grew it into a powerhouse. He finally stepped down in 1974 and gave it on to the rest of his family, and they have since been the team that they are. Just a rock'em sock'em blue-collar football team, man. They go out and they do work, and Art Rooney, that's my pick right there. The best offense, I'm going to give it up to the St. Louis Rams back in the year 2000. They were just killing everybody. And they had Kurt Warner throwing that ball. Nobody could stop him. It's no wonder why they won the Super Bowl that year.
I was getting at offensive players, if you can give me 2 offensive players that you can think of.
Oh, man.
Give me quarterback, running back, tight end, whatever you wanted, wide receiver.
My God, it was Torrey. We had him on Torrey Holt, yes. That guy, he'd get down the field and Kurt Warner would just hit him. It was ridiculous.
He was a burner.
He was good. He ended his career with Jacksonville. You give him a little bit of props.
He was definitely a burner. He can get around any DB he wanted to. Him and Isaac, that offense was amazing. So I guess you liked Kurt Warner as one of your guys, and you liked Torrey Holt.
Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt. Oh man, I could go on.
Give me 2 defensive players for your Mount Rushmore.
Oh man, defensive players. Let's go with the 1985 Chicago Bears in the fridge, number 72. That guy, gigantic, massive man.
Now, if you want to talk about that, he was put on the offense a lot more than he was on the defense, if I'm not mistaken. They didn't rotate him in very often, did they?
No, they did. He carried the ball for a touchdown once or twice, but did I screw that up?
I think in 85, that was the year he got drafted, but he didn't start. I think they rotated him every once in a while. The fridge, that is. But he definitely played after that. He was definitely an integral part of being on the Bears, and especially that 86 that was statistically better than the 85 team. But yeah, the fridge was definitely... he's a WWE Hall of Famer. You believe that shit?
No. William Perry, a WWE Hall of Famer.
Yes, he's a WWE Hall of Famer. I find that hilarious. It was the celebrity wing, obviously. I think he actually ended up having a match in the early WrestleMania days. I know Bam Bam Bigelow ended up fighting Lawrence Taylor, so they had a football thing going on for a little while. It was pretty funny. But
I remember that. Right, I never really watched too much wrestling.
I'm still a big wrestling fan nowadays. I'm a big wrestling mark. If you're on Skype camera here, you see I got 2 championship belts back here. One's the Undisputed title, and one's the Smoke and Skull belt from Stone Cold Steve Austin days.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that still these days. I bitch a lot about it, but it's still part of my house. So you're an 85 Bears fan.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite special teams player of all times? It could be a kicker, it could be a punter.
Devin Hester.
You know what? That's a good point. Good. I didn't even get to say punt returner or kick returner, and that's That's actually very good. What really pissed me off, Devin Hester, though, was, as you know, he was a Raven for his last season here, but he did not do very well with us. So when we cut him, he ended up going to Seattle and lit it up in Seattle for the playoffs, of course. Why couldn't you do that here, Devin? He was just calling fair catches, fumbling, and doing all sorts of crap here. And then he goes to Seattle, and it's just like he was back in Chicago.
Well, maybe he was just unhappy with the situation in Baltimore. I really didn't know any more about it than that, but
well, if you had to live in Baltimore, you'd probably be upset too. I understand that.
Come on, Baltimore's not that bad. Come on.
If you get outside of the city, it's great. Like if you live in Baltimore County like I do, it's pretty awesome. But don't go down to the city. Yeah, if you love your life, don't go down to the city.
That's good advice. I'll take your word for it.
All right, man. Who do you feel has the best roster right now in the NFL?
Oh my God! As much as it pains me to admit, I'd have to go with the Rams. They've got an amazing balance of everything right now.
They are loading the cannon. My goodness, you got Ndamukong Suh they signed in there. Didn't they? No, they don't have Watkins anymore. Who was the other guy they got?
No, they got Watkins.
Did they just acquire him?
They got him last year. They just didn't use him very much.
No, he ended up leaving. They ended up getting another guy who got drafted the same year. I'm going to look that up real quick.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to know, too. So I can avoid drafting Sam Watkins in my fantasy.
Yeah, let's see here. Robert Woods. Is he on IR right now? Cooper Kupp was also great. Brandon Cooks, that's who it was. He just ended up getting a big contract. So I think that was actually a pretty decent one. Watkins ended up going somewhere else. I think they ended up just letting him walk. But Jared Goff is starting to develop there. I can understand that. Personally, I think the best roster, minus quarterback situation, it's got to be the Jaguars right now. You guys just keep getting better. You kept damn near everybody except for your wide receivers, and even then, you've got some pretty decent ones to backfill.
Absolutely, but it's missing that one piece, the X factor, Blake Bortles. I mean, that's all good. I mean, it's like having a Ferrari with no engine in it. All right, I mean, we gotta.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like a lug nut being missing. I mean, everything else is good. You can run around Blake Bortles. He did well getting you guys all the way to the AFC Championship game last year. It's kind of like having a busted lug nut. Okay, that I'll give him that.
All right, maybe it's not so bad. We have all the pieces there, and we just need a few more tweaks, and hopefully we've got a functioning Super Bowl ready team. Like Malik Jackson said, we're going all the way this year, 16-0. As good as that sounds, I just don't see it happening.
It's been a while since somebody done 16-0, 2007, and that didn't end very well for them. But,
in Jacksonville's history, usually it's been 0-16. maybe he's a little dyslexic.
I think the highest they've ever done was like 14-2.
Yeah, it was 1999.
That was a damn good season too. Yeah.
Yep.
That was a season where the Rams ended up winning that one in St. Louis.
Yep.
But let's see here. What else do I have to cover with you? Where do you see this team going, man?
I see us definitely taking the AFC. Yes, I said that.
Right.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Patriots Nation. Fuck all of you. I see us taking the AFC this year because, we did it last year. Miles Jack wasn't down, and thanks to the referees blowing the whistle too soon, they missed out on that 7 points that would have taken them to the Super Bowl.
That was some bullshit. I remember that. I was pissed off watching that.
It's odd how all of the bullshit always happens in Foxborough every single time.
Yeah, it's like there's just a floating asterisk just all over that stadium. It just it really irritates me.
It goes one way.
Trust me, I feel the pain as far as the asterisk and the New England Patriots are concerned. I think that that definitely was kind of fucked up.
Very.
I'm not really happy with the outcome of that game. It was damn near. It was really close. Once again, another one of those close but no cigars. Maybe you guys can get to the Super Bowl. I do wish you guys the best. I don't believe in luck. Luck is for losers, but I don't think you're even going to need luck. This team is built for going back to at least the AFC Championship if they can get by the Ravens, which shouldn't be too hard. at this point, just based on. Did you watch this week's game?
I did not, unfortunately. Had things to do.
If Lamar Jackson's starting right now, we're screwed. That's all I got to say. But Flacco is currently slated to be the starter, which I can't say is much better.
We're both in the same situation. Everything depends on what our quarterback's going to do.
Yeah, I need him to channel his 2012 Flacco again just for one more season. Give me one more ring, buddy, before I die.
When is his contract up?
His contract is up in 2020, I believe, but we've got a significant out after this year. We can drop him with most of his guaranteed money out the window already.
No kidding.
Yeah, after this season is when we can move on and go with Lamar Jackson or RG3 or whoever we decide to keep on this roster.
All right. Well, if that happens, I'm pretty sure you won't be upset.
I'll remember the good times, but then I'll try to repress the bad times.
Yep.
All right, man. I appreciate you giving me your time today. You've been a great guest. We've been going on for almost 40 minutes now. I really appreciate everything that you came on to talk to me about. Let's see if we can do this again in the future, man. Let's see if we can, later in the season, start talking about how the Ravens are so much better than Jaguars. And kidding, obviously. It's probably not going to be that way.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again pre-Super Bowl victory for Jacksonville in 2019.
Let's call it a date.
All right.
All right, man. Thanks for coming on the show today. Big shout out to Dano DeMano for coming on the show this week and talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was one interesting episode, and I'm looking forward to the next one. We're going to have a Cleveland Browns fan coming on who was converted to a Baltimore Ravens fan after the team moved. It took her a little while to become a Baltimore Ravens fan, but hey, she knows a winner when she sees them. So tune in next week for that, and thank you guys very much for sticking with me this week. I know the editing got done a little late on this, but better late than never. So till next time, I've been CJ, and this has been The FAPT.